Candidate Susan Waititu and her supporters stage a walkout alleging vote theft. Now, on Tuesday night, chaos erupted at Mango High School Tallying Center following allegations of vote rigging, intimidation and bribery. All right, let's now talk to our reporter on the ground, our senior political affairs reporter, that is Chris Thairu, joining us live from that tallying center. Thairu, how far is the vote tallying?
Well, a very good afternoon, Ashley. And as you correctly put it, the vote tallying here in Juja constituency, and to be particular at Mango High School, which is the tallying center for this by-election in Juja, is still ongoing. Remember that generally this process would have been completed by now, given that the process of voting started yesterday morning. But due to that suspension of the vote tallying by the IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati last night, the tallying stopped and they resumed this morning at 9 a.m. So far, the PEP candidate, that is the People's Empowerment Party candidate, George Koimbori, is leading with 5,027 votes, being followed closely, or not closely because the gap is still widening, but it's the Jubilee candidate, Susan Waititu, who is currently at 2,600. That is a gap of close to 2,500 votes, but if if everything remains constant, then that gap, as we have seen the trend, it continues to widen. Then George Koimbori might just be the next member of parliament for Juja constituency. Here in this auditorium at the tallying center, we have the chairman Wafula Chebukati, who is leading, actually supervising this process where senior of IBC officials and junior IBC officials are trying to ensure that the Juja constituents know who will be the next member of parliament by at least 4 p.m. By last evening, before the suspension of the tallying, they had tallied 16 polling centers out of 184. But by now, they have managed to tally 84 more polling centers. So we have a remainder of actually half of the 184 polling centers in total here in Juja constituency. And as you initially put it, before, after the opening or the dropping of that suspension by the IEBC chairman, we saw Chebukati address the media, and he indicated that as a commission, they will be writing to the Director of Public Prosecution so that he can commence investigations together with the evidence that they have before them onto the chaos that erupted here last night, leading to that suspension. In that statement, the initial statement, we saw Wafula Chebukati actually indict the Kiambu governor, Dr. James Nyoro, who had been accompanied by some members of parliament, including the women rep for Kiambu, Gathonwa Mushomba. And from that statement by Wafula Chebukati is that a crowd of youths who had accompanied the governor and those MPs went directly to where the returning officer was, and they caused chaos and commotion. And that is what the chairman, Wafula Chebukati, is insisting that it goes against the Elections Act, because it is part of the electoral malpractices. And this morning, after that suspension was uplifted, we saw Susan Waititu, who is the Jubilee candidate, together with the Kiambu Town Member of Parliament, Jude Jomo, walk out in protest from this auditorium, and they have indicated that they will not honor any announcement that will be coming from here. They have actually indicated that this process is already skewed. It was full of malpractices, and actually they were actually seeking to talk to Wafula Chebukati, who is the chairman, to stop the tallying so that they can start afresh and count votes one by one. According to them, is that some of the polling centers, the results from some of the polling centers were not included in those forms, but these still remains accusations. And when I put them a question to them whether they will be moving to court, their indication was they will first wait for the results before they decide on their next course of action. Remember that they still have an avenue to move to court and challenge this win. But we'll still be here. We'll keep an eye on what will be happening from here. But calm has returned. The hall itself is calm as IEBC officials continue with that tallying process. Outside, we have a contingent of police officers manning the compound. Remember, we are still in a school. It's Mango High School. Learning is still in process, and so they are still ensuring that even as this process continues, students are still learning and without any disruption. And so, as you initially indicated, the promise by the IEBC officials is that by 4 p.m. we should be knowing who will be the next member of parliament for Juja constituency. Ashley.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris Thairo, for that update. Of course, Chris.